Listen, I have seen a lot of Chinese penises in my life, okay? I'm talking about anywhere between 10 to 20,000. So in this video, I'm going to put an end to the debate on penis sizes, okay? So my video on interracial dating and the 8 inches big black cock, that got over 7,500 comments. I was definitely not expecting that. So, okay, I want to come back to this topic, okay? And if you're wondering how I got myself into that situation, I've mentioned in previous videos before. So in China, one of the most popular spots is one of these public shower places where you can go in, you can get an entire rub down, you can get a full body massage. And inside of these shower centers, they have hot tubs, they have jacuzzi. Basically, you can get the full experience. And obviously, this will be a culture shock to many Westerners. And if you ever see these public shower centers, because when you walk in, you'll see a couple hundred Chinese guys that's completely butt naked. And there's one thing I want to make it clear at the start of this video. Yes, 99% of Asians, this is true for male and female, they do not shave down there, which that part really bothers me. Personally, I don't like it. I shave it because it gets extremely itchy. Also, it's a huge disadvantage. Let's say if you have a schlort, right, instead of a schlong, because if you had a schlong, at least part of your meat is hanging out. But if you have a schlort, then everything is hidden behind the bushes, right? You wouldn't be able to see anything. I also want to make something clear. I'm not being perverted or anything, but obviously when you walk into these public shower centers, there's a couple hundred dudes that's completely naked. There's no way to avoid it completely, and you just see all these naked Chinese guys. Here's a couple of common threads I found, okay? For example, if you go to areas like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, or Hong Kong, Macau, typically on average, okay, the sausage size for these Chinese guys from the south on average are smaller. The more north you go on average, the bigger the sausage you will see. I'm not sure if this has something to do with the hotter versus the colder climate. Also, a few other details I've noticed, okay? Generally speaking, anyone that is morbidly obese, you would think that these guys will have a big fat sausage, okay? Anybody who's morbidly obese generally have extremely small, tiny packages, okay? I think this has something to do with the fact that, if you have too much fat on your body, your heart is working 10 times as hard in order to pump blood to a various part of your body. So it doesn't have enough blood to be transferred to your third leg. So you're probably at the point where you're constantly limp all the time. You can't get a full erection. Listen, I'm just telling you what I've seen, okay? And I'm mentioning right now in China, there's a massive obesity crisis, especially amongst the China's youths. I'm talking about the millennials and Gen Zs. Nothing good will happen to you if you're morbidly obese, okay? Generally speaking, the fatter you are, the smaller your third leg is. And also, I think this is one of the criteria, so, when women are choosing men, they want the man to be as tall as possible. I think many of these women think that, the really tall guys, the guys who are like 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", have massive packages. And personally, from what I've seen, I don't think there's any correlation between your height versus your penis size. For example, I've seen many Chinese guys who are, extremely tall, 6'3", 6'4", but in many of these cases, these guys are extremely skinny like a chopstick. So oftentimes what I see is that with these extremely tall, skinny guys, sometimes they might have the length, but they always lack the girth. So it's kind of like a noodle string. And I know that for many women out there, girth is extremely important. Sometimes more important than the length.
Girth? Girth? Why?
Many women out there would rather prefer something like a cheese wheel. As long as you're wide enough at the bottom, then your length doesn't really matter. So in general, I would say typically the guys with the biggest schlons, the biggest smoked Chinese sausages are guys who are typically average height and average weight. Because generally speaking, when you're too skinny, your penis starts to lack the girth. And when you get to the point of morbidly obese, your penis just becomes extremely tiny. Now, I don't have all the data. I'm not a scientist. I haven't conducted any studies. This is just speaking from personal experience. I have a massive sample size. Think about it. I lived in China in total for about, 14 years? You take out maybe the first 4 years of infancy. Let's say 10 years. Let's say I went to these public shower centers, once a week? And let's say on average, every single visit, I saw about 200 Chinese sausages. You multiply that by 52 weeks a year. So I've probably seen over 20,000 Chinese penises over the course of my lifetime. And here comes the $1.4 billion question. What about the length? Obviously, the Chinese sausages I saw at these public showers, I only saw them in the flaccid state. So it's hard to say exactly what they will be when they're fully erect. Personally, when I'm fully erect, I'm over 5 inches, but less than 6. I'm not going to give you the exact measurements. But generally speaking, I would say probably the average length of a Chinese penis is probably anywhere between 4.5 to 5 inches. to all of these people in the Western media saying that the average Asian penis is 3 inches, that's 100% complete bullshit propaganda. There are certainly Chinese guys with penises who are much bigger than me. I've definitely seen some guys who are, let's say, 6, possibly 7 or 7.5, but I think it's almost impossible for a Chinese guy to get to 8 inches. Because if there were a lot of Asian guys with packages who are 8 inches or above, you would have seen these guys a long time ago. You guys would have seen these guys on these Japanese adult video websites. Sites like Tokyo Hot. But if you don't believe me, just watch these Japanese videos. I don't think you will find any guys that's 8 inches or above. I think around 7 to 7.5, that's the maximum an Asian guy can reach. There's no way for me to prove this, obviously. I have told you guys that I will be going back to China before the end of the year. But obviously, I can't just walk in with my phone and my camera at the shower center and start filming, right? So if you don't believe me, if you want this full experience, just, book a vacation to China, go to Beijing or something, and go to one of these public shower centers, get the full body experience, walk in butt naked, and just observe. Hey, it might be extremely weird and awkward at first, right? But who knows, maybe after a couple visits, you'll start liking it. And maybe you could become an entrepreneur. You could bring this idea back to the West. You can open up these public shower centers in Canada or the United States. Because I will absolutely love to see that. I would love to see the public's reaction. Thank you guys so much for watching my video until the end. See you guys next time.